Before last Tuesday's council meeting, some members of the council met at Mill Hill. It was exactly 100 years since the very first common council meeting for the city of Norwalk. And at that first meeting, the mayor admonished the council that they were there to serve the city, not one party or the other, just the city. And that's truly the way I feel. And those of you that know me know that I get in trouble with one party or the other because I vote my conscience. I don't vote as a party tells me. I don't vote as a special interest tells me. I vote my conscience. I vote what I feel is right. So the elephant in the room, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that I switched caucuses. And I did that for a very simple reason. When I was in the Democratic caucus, it was very clear that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish anything. Because that caucus was in disarray, and that party was in disarray. And you've all seen it in the paper. I don't have to go through it. So I walked across the aisle, and I joined the other caucus. Not one vote I took was different than if I had been still in the Democratic caucus. I changed nothing but where I was sitting. I've had several people say, well, you can't trust Geek because he switched parties. No, you can trust Geek because he votes his conscience. He votes what he feels is right. He votes for the people of Norwalk, not for this party or that party. So I ask for your vote. I ask for your support. I'm on line A this time instead of B, but I'm still the same person I've always been. I have a record. You can see how I voted.
Thank you, Mr. Geek. Mr. Verdone.
My name is Frank Verdone. I'm a longtime resident of Norwalk, specifically South Norwalk. And I'm retired Master Sergeant from the Army Reserve, and I'm also retired from civil service. So I bring a little bit of government and government knowledge to candidacy, but I've never served in political office. I'm also a member of the Parish Council of St. Matthew, and my goals, I have no idea what my goals are right now, because this is my first opportunity to serve in the political arena. And I guess I could bring whatever I have learned in the military to the floor. One thing that I did learn in the military, as a Master Sergeant, I learned to listen. It's an art that we have forgotten. Learn to listen to people, what they say, especially kids. Kids today are very smart. I guess that's about it for now.
Thank you. Ladies or gentlemen, Mr. Travis? Ms. Bowman.
I'm going to stand. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this event, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name is Phaedra Bowman. I also go by Faye. I am running to represent South Norwalk on the County Council. I've lived in Norwalk since I was 3, and I've lived in South Norwalk since I was 5. Therefore, I feel I will be well able to, I am very familiar with the challenges that face South Norwalk residents. I graduated from Birmingham High School. I graduated from Boston University in political science, and I received my master's from Penn. I've been working for the past 5 years for nonprofits who work to close the achievement gap and also promote social and economic mobility. I've been involved in local politics since 2007. I served on the Water Pollution Control Authority as an alternate for former Councilwoman Phyllis Bolden. I am the corresponding secretary for the Norwalk Democratic Town Committee. I'm an NAACP member. I'm a member of the Better South Norwalk team, and I'm also a Justice of the Peace. The issues I plan to focus on as a council person are, one, education, and ensuring that our communities have the resources they need to provide support services for our youth and our family. Public safety, so being sure that our police department and our communities can work together to increase public safety. affordable housing, because it's important that single parents and also young professionals can afford to live in South Norwalk, and then also focusing on small businesses. So I want to make sure that small businesses have the resources they need to succeed in South Norwalk. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman. Mr. Sims.
Good evening, everyone. I want to congratulate all the candidates that put themselves up to run for this wonderful city. I'm a lifelong resident here of Norwalk. Many of you know me. I took on bigger fights. But I tell you, being on the common council here in Norwalk, I mean, it really changed me as a person and really let me get in sync with the citizens of the city. I ran for common council in 2009 to 2011, and I gained a lot of great experience during that time on the common council. And it was a learning curve during that duration. But now, having said that, I have the experience to lead this council in the right direction. As my colleague said, we both serve on different committees here throughout the city. I'm also a member of the South Norwalk Community Center. I'm a board director. Also, I'm a member of the co-founder of the Better South Norwalk group. I went through all the public schools here in Norwalk along with my siblings. I was a graduate of 1989 in North High School. I was a standout athlete throughout the city. And I take that same tenacity to the council. I want to be able to fight hard. I want to be able to handle the tough decisions, the tough calls. And I want to make sure that every citizen in this, across not just District B that I represent, but I want to make sure that every citizen in this city gets great representation. And that's what I will bring to the common council. I will bring civility, and I will bring common sense. I want to make sure that everyone has a fair shake on this council and treat each other fairly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Mr. Heath.
I sat there and I listened to the District A candidates and sit here and listen to the District B candidates. And one thing that strikes me is all four Democrats have said how one of their priorities is education. If that's the case, they're running for the wrong office. The only function the Common Council has as far as education is concerned is the bottom line. We set their overall budget, and then we have no say at all in what happens with the Board of Ed. So, for me to sit up here and say education's a priority, well, sure it is. I can't do anything about it, but it's a priority. I've also heard former and sitting council members talk about how they're going to work for the council and all of that. It sometimes helps when you're working for the council to actually show up for committee meetings. I had a very hard 2 years here. I've had family issues, I've had professional issues. But in those times that I could not actually physically be present, I telecommuted. They put me on speakerphone and I attended meetings. I made sure that I was involved in the meetings wherever possible. My proudest accomplishment this year is something that term after term after term, others failed at. Norwalk now has a blight ordinance. Is it perfect? No. But we got one passed. We got one passed even though for several months we had a hard time getting a quorum because certain members chose not to show up. But we got a blight ordinance passed and a companion for landlord registration. So I'm getting a red flag waved at me, so we'll end it there.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Mr. Bernard.
One aspect that I would like to see is what I call building bridges. Not physical bridges. Bridges between parties. In order to work together. Okay. Bridges between various groups in Norwalk. I have no idea how to do it, but we work together. That's the thing, is working together, building bridges.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Ms. Bowman?
That was quick. Again, I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Again, the major issues I plan to focus on are education and ensuring our communities have what they need, public safety, affordable housing, and then also helping small businesses succeed in South Norwalk. I just wanted to touch on something that Mr. Heath said. You know, education isn't, there's nothing we can do about education. Well, that's one of the major issues I see with a lot of our elected officials. Every time something comes up, they say it's not their problem and there's nothing they can do about it. Well, somebody can do something about it, and I plan to be someone that does something about it. So that's one thing that sets me apart. Another, a couple of other things that set me apart from, you know, my candidates on the other aisle are, I think that I can bring a fresh perspective to old issues that have been facing South Norwalk. And also, I feel that I will be a council person who listens and then also takes into account public opinion, and that's something that is really important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Oh,
Bowman.
sorry. Vote moment, vote row B.
Mr. Sims? Thank you, Ms. Bowman.
Yes. Well, I plan to, from day one, to make sure that we have some transparency on the council. I want to make sure that we are not just voting party line just to appease or tick off the other side. I want to work in a combined effort to make sure, in a joint effort to make sure that we are representing the city and not our own personal endeavors. It was sitting on the council in 2009, 2011. We faced it. It was voting party line without really taking the people into consideration. And that troubled me. And I said if I ever had the opportunity to run again on the council, and we were the majority, we would still treat them with respect and dignity. With that said, when I do get elected back on the common council, I will work bipartisan to make sure that every citizen's voices are heard and every need is being met. I don't believe in not taking phone calls or returning phone calls or returning emails. I'm very responsive, and if elected, I'll make sure that your problems get tackled. And I thank you for your time, and your patience and understanding, and I look forward to being your council representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. And thank you to the District B